Okay, well, 1 hour has went by, and I truly am quite amazed. My halogen bulb is still running, and I'm having to block it off even though it's went down somewhat. It's still very bright and putting out quite a bit of heat. I actually did brush up against it and touch it with one of my fingers, which resulted in a small little burn, but I know you're not supposed to touch these things, so after I'm done with this, I'll give that bulb a good cleaning, and I'm sure it'll be okay. So the GT power tells me I'm down to 10.48 volts. I'm still pulling 40.7 watts. Amazing. 3.89 amps. And again, this one's pretty hard for me to read, but it looks like it's 10.5 volts and 388 amps. So again, I am just very amazed that I've been able to do this, run a 50-watt halogen bulb for 1 hour. And we're not done yet. We're not anywhere near where we should be. Charge controller is telling me the battery looks like it's about half down. A little indicator there, and I'm sure the camera can't see that. 10.4 on that, 10.4 there, 10.5 here volts. So the charge controller is set to shut off when it reaches 9 volts. We still got a ways to go. So I'm going to just continue on with this test. Never thought I'd make it this far. Feeling a little bit of warmth out of those. I can just barely detect a little bit of warmth. So I'll be back. Okay, we're getting right down to it. This has been running for 1 hour and 50 minutes. We've almost hit the 2-hour mark. And I'm very, very amazed. The old saying goes, you could have knocked me over with a feather. And I certainly feel like that right now, because I just cannot believe that this thing has ran this long. We're right down to it. We're at 9.13 volts. We're at 9 exactly on the charge controller. I timed it just perfectly here. 9.14, and now it just shut off. I knew it would, because the inverter is set to shut off at 9. It had hit 9. You probably had to get to the bottom part of 9. So let's turn our load off. Let's disconnect everything. I didn't have a chance to see what the watts were doing, but everything had dropped down quite a bit. So now it is time to let this sit and rest now. As I said, the inverter took it down to 9, but the voltage will immediately start coming back up, because that's just what these things do, and I don't know, somebody could tell me the exact reason for that. I don't actually know, but I know that's perfectly normal. So I got just under an hour, about 9 minutes before the 1 hour mark or so, something right around there. And yeah, I'm really, really amazed that I ran a 50-watt halogen bulb for almost 2 hours on this pack. Certainly opens up the possibility for lots of other testing when I get the big pack going, and certainly more halogen bulb testing with this one. So let's write down the time here. Gonna keep track of all this stuff. I ran for 1 hour and 50 minutes. That's amazing. So, the plan is for the day, I got the whole day here. Going to be home on this Christmas Day 2016 for almost the entire day. We'll be leaving later to go do some family stuff, but that's a long ways away. So I'm going to concentrate on bottom balancing these, getting these all the way down to 3. By the way, I forgot, I've checked this repeatedly during this this test in the last hour and 50 minutes. I've been checking my cells individually. The 2 outside packs have been doing okay. The middle pack seem to drain pretty quick, but the last time I checked it, which was about 10 minutes ago, they all seem to be pretty balanced. And they are fairly warm now. They did get fairly warm. Just kind of a, draining them does that, I guess. I don't know what the exact, why they do that. They're being used. They're being used pretty heavily, and well, that's the reason why. So anyway, we're going to let this sit for about 15 or 20 minutes. I'll come back and I'll test it with the Innova, and I'll see how my balancing is going, and then from there I can probably restart the halogen if it's not too far out of balance, and again run it down. I'm sure my voltage is going to jump all the way back up to probably at least 10 volts, so the halogen will run for a few minutes, but then same thing's going to happen. I'm going to have to keep repeatedly doing that, and I'm going to keep track of what my voltage is each time to see how it's dropping down, and eventually get it down to 9, and then let it rest for a few hours at 9. Make sure it doesn't keep creeping back up. The whole pack at 9, each cell at 3. So that's the plan for today, and we'll be back here in about 15-20 minutes with an update. Okay, it has been 25 or so minutes, actually closer to 30 minutes. The pack has been resting. My total voltage is 10.22 volts, so it did come back up. The problem I have is it's all out of balance now. Cell number 1, 3.42 volts. Cell number 2, these three, 3.36 volts, and cell number 3, 3.43 volts. So the outside cells are somewhat balanced, the inside is not. So as I said, the problem now is if I turn the halogen back on, and which I'm going to do one more time right now, in fact. If I can find my lead here. And now the inverter, or the charge controller, it goes into an error. It takes it for a minute to think. So now the halogen's back on. So let's just run it down. I got 945, 36 watts is what I'm pulling. 94. So it shouldn't take long for this to drain back down, because I'm already at 9.2 as far as the inverter goes. But the problem is, since it's out of balance, it's going to take it all down to 9, but this one that is lower could drop below 3 volts. So that's a problem with it being out of balance, is I could end up damaging. Okay, there, shut off. So if I keep doing this, it could drop it down too far. That's my way of thinking on that. So again, we'll let this sit for another 20 or so minutes, and I'll come back and check it again and let it have time to go back up to achieve its resting voltage. And this is the magic number here. We want to see what's going to change there. It was 10.22 before. Now we'll see what the resting voltage is after 20 or so minutes. Another half an hour. Let's figure a half an hour. And we'll see. And then probably I might end up trying to discharge it with the iMax using the balance cable. I don't know if that'll work, honestly, but this is all an experiment, so we'll find out.